I've been working for my brother for about 2 long years now, and I finally said, hey, I know this was an intern position. I've been doing the job that 3 people would be doing, and it's taking me about 8 to 10 hours a day for 6 days a week to do this for the last 2 years. So I said, hey man, I'm going to step away from the family business and dip my feet into something new. So I made a resume, very detailed about everything I've done, and I actually got a job offer. But before I could accept this job, they called me up and said they're rescinding the offer because my previous employer said something very negative about me. And I'm like, well, my previous employer was my brother, so I call him up. He denies it. So I do a little digging. And what I find makes me so mad, it's straight up defamation. I'm going to be suing my brother. I don't care if it tears apart my family. I don't care if my mom cuts me off. I don't care. I am going to sue that jerk for what he did. Okay guys, I really need perspective here, because I honestly feel like I'm losing my mind. This is going to be long, but I promise it's worth it if you like family drama that would make a soap opera writer jealous. I'm Donald, but people just call me Don. My older brother Thomas has always been the golden egg. He's quite older than me. I'm 27, he's 41. I have a mom and a dad who are 64 and 67. My mother's name is Rebecca, if that matters, and my dad's name is actually Marta, but he goes by Marty. They basically worship the ground my brother walks on. Thomas went to a business school, married his college boyfriend Tony, and started what looked like a successful financial consulting firm in Denver at around 2014. Meanwhile, I was finishing my undergraduate and trying to figure out what the hell to do with my life. So, summer 2016. Thomas calls me up all friendly-like and says he needs help at the office for a few months. Just temporary, little bro, until we can afford real employees. See, the pay was crap. I'm talking $200 a week, but he promised it would look good on my resume and help me network. My parents were over the moon that Thomas was mentoring me, so I figured, heck, why not? But here's where I probably should have seen the red flags, by hindsight. But you know, 2020 vision, right? That few months turned into 2 years. I became their secretary, IT guy, bookkeeper, receptionist, coffee runner, basically everything except what they actually hired me to do, which was supposedly learning the business. Thomas would introduce me to clients as our intern, even though I was doing the work 3 full-time employees do. The $200 a week, it never seemed to increase. And when I asked about it, Thomas would give me this whole speech about paying my dues and family helping family. I know this sounds crazy, but I genuinely thought that this was normal. My girlfriend Sheila, she kept telling me that I was being exploited, but it was like, hey, it's just until I figure out grad school, you know? Thomas was always talking about how he was investing in my future, and how this experience was priceless. My parents constantly praised him for giving me opportunities and said that I should be grateful. The breaking point came in early 2018. I got accepted to a master's program. I even gave Thomas exactly 2 months' notice, way more than he deserved, and tried to train whoever was replacing me. And that's when things got weird. Thomas started getting really cold, making comments about how I was abandoning the family business and being ungrateful after everything that, well, they've done for me. Tony was even worse, making snide remarks about how I'd, quote, never make it in the real world without their guidance. But here's the really messed up part, guys, and I'm sorry for my language, but there's no other way to describe it. It was hell. After I left for grad school, I started applying for internships and part-time jobs. Every single place that I applied to, I would get initial interest based on my resume, but then nothing, just radio silence. Finally, one HR person I knew from college networking pulled me aside and told me that companies were getting concerning references about me from my previous employee. So I confronted Thomas about it, and he straight up denied I'd ever worked there. Said I was just hanging around the office and they let me use the computer sometimes out of kindness. When I showed him emails with my work signature, he claimed that I made it up. So I mentioned specific clients I worked with, and he said that I eavesdropped on confidential meetings and that he was concerned about my mental state. Are you kidding me? Guys, I can't express how soul-crushing it is to have your own brother gaslight you like this. But it gets worse. Turns out Thomas and Tony were not just giving me bad references, they were actively spreading rumors that I've been fired for harassment. Not like a harassment of a woman or anything, thank goodness, but they were telling people I've been aggressive and inappropriate with clients and had anger management issues. It's a complete lie, but enough to make me radioactive to any employer who bothered to check references. I spent 6 months unemployed and burning through my savings while trying to figure out what the hell had happened. My mental health tanked. Sheila was furious and kept telling me to fight back, but honestly, I was just confused and hurt. This was my brother, the guy who taught me how to ride a bike and helped me with homework. What would he do this for? Finally, Sheila pretty much dragged me to a lawyer's office. Turns out what Thomas did is defamation, and potentially a bunch of labor law violations too. The lawyer took one look at my situation and said, "Oh, we have a strong case," especially since I had emails and documents proving I'd actually worked there, and that my references were probably false. So here's what my family really showed their true colors though. When I told my parents I was suing Thomas, my dad, Marty, absolutely lost his mind. Started screaming about how I was destroying the family and being vindictive over a misunderstanding between brothers. And my mom, Rebecca, just sat there looking uncomfortable, which for her is basically the same as agreeing with Dad. They demanded I drop the lawsuit and work things out like an adult. When I explained that Thomas had literally made me unemployable and was spreading lies about me, Dad said that I was exaggerating and that Thomas would never do that. Well, Mom finally spoke up to say that families should handle things privately and that suing would hurt everyone. I tried to explain. Thomas had stolen 2 years of my life and was continuing to sabotage my career to this day, but they weren't hearing it, and Dad actually said, and I quote, "Well, maybe if you would have been a better employee, this would never have happened." Mom just nodded her head. Sheila was in the room for this conversation, and I had to physically restrain her from going nuclear on my parents. She's protective, maybe too protective, but honestly, she's the only person who's been in my corner through this whole entire nightmare. So now I'm stuck in this position where I either let my brother continue to destroy my life, or I fight back and my parents just disown me. My 2 sisters, S and L, I'm not gonna say their name, are trying to stay neutral, but I can tell they think I should just let it go. Be the bigger person. The lawsuit is moving forward and my lawyer thinks we'll either settle or win a trial, but I keep wondering if I'm making the right choice. Am I destroying my family over money and pride? Or am I finally standing up for myself after years of being walked all over? I guess what I'm asking is, am I an a-hole? Should I drop the lawsuit and try to rebuild a relationship with my family? Or should I see this through and accept that my family might never forgive me? What would you do? What's up, everybody? Oh man, today's story is a good one. I do have an update that came out 8 months later, but hey, we've seen a similar story like this before, and it never ends well when you mix family and business. We've seen it time and time again. Guys, if you want to support the channel and you like these daily stories, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, drop a like down below, and leave a comment. Alright, here's the first update. Update number 1, exactly 8 months later. Holy crap, guys. I honestly did not expect this to blow up the way that it did when I posted originally like months back. Thank you guys who told me I wasn't crazy and that I need to pursue this. I have news. Your comments literally kept me sane during some dark moments in my life. Okay, update time and buckle up, because this is going to be wild. Okay, first let's go over all the legal stuff. Remember how I mentioned having emails and documents proving I worked for Thomas? Well, turns out I had way more evidence than I realized. I kept an old laptop from the office. Thomas had said that I could take it when I left since it was old and broken anyways. Turns out that broken laptop had about 2 years worth of files on it, including some stuff that, well, let's just say, proved Thomas and Tony were not exactly running their business ethically. I'm being very vague because my lawyer said not to disclose too much, but let's say they were playing fast and loose with client information, and there were some files on there that probably should never have existed. My lawyer nearly fell out of his chair when I brought the laptop in. He immediately called some federal contacts, and suddenly this wasn't just a defamation case anymore. Sheila had been pushing me to turn over the laptop for months, but I kept hesitating because part of me still hoped that we could work things out as a family. She finally sat me down and said, "Donald, your brother tried to destroy your life. He's not going to suddenly grow a conscience and admit what he did. Duh, you have to fight back with everything that you have." She was right. Obviously, she's been right about everything from the beginning, which honestly makes me feel even worse about how family treats her. She was right. Speaking of family, remember how my sisters were trying to stay neutral? Yeah, that did not last very long. About a month after the feds got involved, I got tearful phone calls from both Sarah and Lisa. Apparently, my father has been working on them, and it came out that he co-signed loans for both of their houses just a few years back. And they were crying, saying they could not choose sides in this, and they owed Dad too much to go against him. You know the real kicker in all this? They uninvited me and Sheila from Christmas. Sarah actually said, "We just think it would be better if you were not here this year, given everything that's going on." When I asked if Thomas would be there, she gets quiet and then admitted that yes, he would be. So let me get this straight. I'm the one who got messed up. I'm the one fighting to clear my name, but I'm the one who gets excluded from family gatherings because I, quote, might make everyone uncomfortable. Sheila, she did not take this well. She fired off some emails to my sister that I probably should have stopped her from pressing send, but honestly, I was too hurt and angry to think straight. She basically called them cowards for choosing father's money over supporting their brother, and said some things about enablers and toxic family dynamics that, while probably true, definitely didn't help the situation. The worst part was when Dad tried to ambush me outside my sister Lisa's holiday party. I'd gone to try to talk to her one-on-one, thinking maybe we could just work something out, but Dad was waiting in the parking lot and tried to corner me, going on about how I was tearing the family apart and, quote, hurting everyone for apparently no good reason. Yeah, so Sheila came out of the car when she saw what was happening, and well, let's just say she unleashed 2 years of pent-up fury on my dad. She brought up every crappy thing that he's done over the years, including some stuff I told her in confidence about my childhood. She called him a narcissistic failure and said the only reason Thomas turned out to be such a piece of crap was because Dad enabled him his whole life. Was it harsh? Yeah, absolutely. Was it true? Probably more than I like to admit. But watching my girlfriend scream at my father in a parking lot while my mother sat in the car pretending not to see what was one of the lowest points of my entire life. And yes, it hurts. Meanwhile, Thomas's business is falling apart. So, turns out when the feds started sniffing around your financial consulting firm, clients tend to get a bit nervous. Go figure. He's had to let go most of his staff, and I heard through the grapevine that he and Tony are probably going to have to sell their house. Their new lawyers reached out about settling, which my attorney says is a good sign. But honestly, I don't know if there's any coming back from this. Even if I win the lawsuit, even if I get my reputation back, my family is destroyed. My parents have not spoken to me since the parking lot incident, and my sister, she does text me occasionally, but it's all surface level stuff. I won the battle against Thomas, but I'm losing the war for my family. And the worst part is, I'm starting to think maybe they were never really on my side to begin with. Sheila keeps telling me that real family would not make me choose between justice and relationships, and that anyone who abandoned you for standing up for yourself was not really worth having you in your life anyways. Intellectually, I know she's right, but emotionally it hurts, man. Some days I wonder if I should have just let Thomas get away with it and tried to rebuild my career from scratch. Would I be happier? Would my family still be together? But then I remember sitting in my apartment, unemployed, broke, wondering what I've done wrong, and I know I made the right choice. I think. Gosh, I hope I made the right choice. Final update. 5 months later. It's over. We won, but I lost everything. Hey, guys, this is Sheila. It's Donald's girlfriend. I'm posting this update because Donald can't bring himself to write it. So yeah, it's from my perspective now. Honestly, I'm not sure he'll ever be able to. He's been different since the trial ended. Quieter, more withdrawn. I think winning this thing broke something in him that cannot be fixed. But people have been asking for an update, and the story deserves an ending, even if it's not a happy one, so here's the conclusion. We won. Yeah, that's the short version. Thomas and Tony agreed to a settlement that included a written apology, retraction sent to every company that had blacklisted Donald, and financial damages significant enough that they had to sell their house and Tony's car. Their professional license were absolutely revoked, and there's an ongoing criminal investigation that I'm not allowed to say much about, but let's just say they're not going to be working in finance again anytime soon. On paper, this is complete victory. Donald's name has been cleared, his reputation restored, and he's already having several job offers from companies that previously would not touch him. Justice was served and the good guy won. But the cost, oh man, let me talk about it. Donald's parents testified against him. Let me repeat that so it sinks in. His own parents got on the witness stand and sided with Thomas. Marty was bad enough. He basically painted Donald as a delusional young man who had misunderstood his role at the company and was now lashing out because he could not handle being given constructive feedback. He claimed Donald has bigger anger issues and was always difficult as a kid. It was character assassination at its finest from his own father. But Rebecca, oh, she was much worse. But at least with Marty, you could see the malice. He was clearly choosing his golden child over his younger son. And while it was heartbreaking, it wasn't really surprising. Oh, Rebecca, though, she sat up there and lied under oath. She even claimed that Donald had never wanted payment for his work, and that he had been happy to live at home and help out for room and board. She said that, well, he told her multiple times that he was learning so much and felt lucky to actually be included in Thomas's business. She invented entire conversations, fabricated it that never happened, and made Donald sound like he had been a willing volunteer who only got upset when reality set in about his job prospects. You want to know the worst part? She never once looked at Donald while she testified, not once. She answered every question while staring straight ahead or down at her hands, and when she was done, she gets up and walks out of the courtroom in tears. Oh, not because she felt bad about the lies, but because she was embarrassed about having to be there at all. Donald just sat there through it all. Didn't react, didn't cry, didn't get angry. Just sat there and watched his parents destroy him one more time. His lawyer actually warned us this might happen, but I don't think either of us really believed it until we saw it. I wanted to scream. I wanted to jump over the rail and shake them both until they remembered they had another son who needed them just once. Choose him over Thomas once. But Donald just squeezed my hand and whispered, "It's okay. I expected this." Well, that might have been the moment I realized we've already lost everything that mattered. The settlement came about 2 weeks later, and Thomas's lawyer basically begged us to take it rather than continue the trial. Our lawyer recommended we accept it, and it was more money than we had hoped for. The public apologies and restrictions were everything we'd wanted. Donald should have been celebrating. Instead, he's been sleeping 12 hours a day, barely eating, and he got a job offer from one of the top firms in Denver. A dream job, really. And he just stared at the email for an hour before deleting it without responding. Yeah, it's bad. I've tried talking to him, but he just says he's tired and needs time to process. What he's processing, I think, is the fact that he was right about Thomas. His right to fight back, right to pursue justice, but it's still Cost him his family. His sisters haven't spoken to him since the trial, and they didn't even text to congratulate him on winning, and his parents, I honestly don't know if he'll ever hear from them again. Rebecca sent me one text after the settlement that said, "I hope you're happy now." That's it. So, yeah. But he's also completely alone except for me. Some days I catch him staring off into space with this look on his face like he's trying to figure out if it was worth it. I keep telling him that family is not just about blood, that he's better off without people who would choose his abuser over him, that real family would have supported him from the beginning. I believe all that, but I also see how much it hurts him that the people who were supposed to love him unconditionally threw him away the moment he stood up for himself. The truth is, Thomas did not just steal 2 years of Donald's labor and try to destroy his career. He stole Donald's family. And unlike his reputation and financial security, I don't think that's something that we can ever get back. Donald asked me to tell everyone thank you for the support and advice. He said reading these comments on his original post helped him realize he wasn't crazy and gave him everything he needed. He wants people to know that standing up for yourself is worth it, even if it cost you your entire family. I just wish the price had been a little bit lower. Alright guys, that was a wild story. We've seen some similar stories like this on the channel before, but I think what is unique about this one is nobody really won at the end of the situation. OP could not even come back to update because he was so shocked about how everything went down. He was having bad days, depression, probably some anxiety, so Sheila, his girlfriend, soon-to-be wife, had to come and post for him. Guys, I need to know if you found yourself in OP's position. Donald, would you have done the same thing to your brother, or would you have said, you know what, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to make a new resume that doesn't include my brother, maybe somebody that can say nice things about me? Would you have done that instead? Let me know in the comment section down below. I actually love reading every single comment because it tells me, hey, this person thought this person thought this, and sometimes I see and understand a perspective that I didn't even understand to begin with. Guys, drop a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and of course remember one thing. It's cool to be kind. Hey.